Want to create your very first iOS app, but not sure where to start? Well, you're in the right place. Let's get started. In this tutorial, we will implement the game loop and set up brick methods. The purpose of the game loop is to update the game state every quarter of a second. The setup brick method displays the correct brick type. After lines 158, enter the following: dot on a pair, so we now need to create our setup brick method. Private func setup bricks. That accepts a CG size. It will calculate the height and the width of the brick. The next thing we need to do is to I don't know why it's showing an error. Oh, this should be after lines 168. So I'll just move this. And place it anywhere after lines 163. So the next thing we need to do is calculate the width of each brick based on the screen size. Let brick width equals size dot width divided by CG float. Number of columns we cannot find the variable number of columns. I thought we defined it in the first tutorial. Let me scroll up. It seems like we missed out number of columns. The number of columns has already been defined on line 25, defined as a constant, but it's not in the right casing, so we need to change the O to a capital O. And now the variable should be in scope and scene. Yeah, there it is, number of columns. Next thing we need to do is to set the height and size of each of the bricks. Let brick height CG float equals to 30 pixels. And then we have to randomly choose the number of rows for each of the bricks. Equals int dot random 4 to 6, which has 3 dots. And then the next thing we need to do is to create an array of bricks based on the number of rows and columns. So to do this, we need to also use a loop. Bricks equals 0 dot dot less than number of rows dot flat map row in and then we need to loop over each column to create the bricks in each row. Zero dot dot number of columns dot map column in let type brick type equals row mod 3 is equal to 0. Else it would be a multi-hit. Row mod 5 is equal to 0. And explosive else is normal brick. So on line 176 we just determined the brick type based on the number of rows or the row number. So the brick types can be a multi-hit or explosive or normal. The next thing we need to do is set the brick type durability, such as the brick type strength. The strongest brick types at the moment are multi-hit bricks. They have to be like destroyed or by that multiple times. So we'll just implement that. Let durability equals type equals dot multi-hit 2 or 1. So if the type of brick is multi-hit, that means we have to destroy it twice. If it's a normal brick, the durability is just once, so we just destroy it once. And then the next thing we need to do is to calculate the position of each brick based on its row and column. That position equals CG rect X CG float column times by brick width Y CG float row times by brick height width brick width minus 2 height brick height minus 2 and then we need to return a new brick object that includes the calculated properties that we defined within setup brick. Return brick is hit false type durability position. Just compile it. So the next thing we need to do is to return to our dot on a pair on line 161 and then implement the following setup bricks. So we now can call our setup bricks method, initialize the bricks layout, geometry, dot size, we cannot find geometry. Let's see if we've defined it at the top. So here is geometry on line 28. Maybe I spelled it incorrectly, but just copy and paste it. Still can't find it. I had to restart Xcode, and now it seems like it's picking up the geometry variable, and it's now compiled. So the next thing we need to do is to create our game loop function, and that is called start game loop. And as you can see in the preview, that's what it looks like on the right hand side. Private func start game loop. As I mentioned earlier, we'll update the game state every quarter of a second. Schedule timer with interval of 0.016. Repeat is true. The invocation, we don't need that. It should be an R at the end, the timer. And we just need to check that it's not in pause mode. If not paused, then update the game. So just call update game method. And that method we need to create in our next tutorial. Just compile it. So let me comment that out. And then on line 157, you'll call the start game loop function. Recompile. So there's an error, schedule timer. That should be with time interval. I'll just build it again. In the next tutorial, we'll implement the move paddle functionality to enable the user to move the paddle from left to right. As you can see on the screen here, this is the paddle. So the ball will bounce off the paddle and collide with the bricks to destroy the bricks. So that's for next tutorial. Thank you for joining us. If you found this tutorial helpful, please comment, like and subscribe. See you next week.